Hi guys, it's Inam Kafoor here with the Samsung Galaxy S3 smartphone. We're going to take a look at how to back up your smartphone in full exactly. So by that I mean all the icons are exactly how you've laid them out, and anything contained within the icons will still be there, like application data for where you are in a certain game or your emails or whatnot from there. Now your phone does need to be rooted to go through this process. This is going to be method 1 I'm going to be showing you. Method 2 will be in another video. Now I will put a link down in the description and on the screen of how to root your Galaxy S3 smartphone. So I'll switch this off for now, because you do need to be rooted to go through this process, because when you root your phone you will also be installing Clockwork Mod Recovery, which will replace the Android standard recovery console on your device. Now the phone's now off, so all you do is press volume up rocker, power button and the home button all together simultaneously until the device switches on. I'm going to hold them down still until we get to the console. There you go. Now at the bottom of the screen you can tell, if I just bring that in, it says Clock CWM, which stands for Clockwork Mod Base Recovery version 5.5.0.4 and the CF root file version 1.4 there. Same again at the top. Now these menus aren't touch sensitive, so you have to use the volume up and down rockers to navigate through these. Now at the top you've got, I'll just move the cursor down so you can see what it says. Reboot system now at the top, install zip from SD card, wipe data factory reset, wipe cache partition, backup and restore, mounts and storage and advanced. Now to the backup, obviously we go to backup and restore, hit the home button to select that. Now it takes you to the sub menu for this, and you can see in the top left of the screen it says Nandroid, and that's what this process is called. We're going to be doing a Nandroid backup of the phone, which is basically a snapshot of the phone as it is now, with all the contacts, all the messages, all the emails, everything, all the apps as they're laid out on the phone in the various pages, the apps as they're laid out in the app drawer, everything like that. So what you do is we can either go to backup to internal SD card if you don't have an external SD card plugged in, or if you go to backup on its own, what it'll do is it'll put it on the external SD card. Now once you've backed it up you can go through the same process, get to this location, hit restore, and you can select what file to restore from. It's as easy as that. So we'll hit backup first of all, and along the bottom it says CWM based recovery, SD card space free, just over 1.5 gig. There you go, backup complete now, and that took approximately 16 to 17 minutes there from the moment that we started off the backup. Now along the top it just throws you back to the same Clockwork Mod Recovery menu there, and to come out of this you can just go reboot system now, or you can choose to restore. As we're in this menu anyway, I'll just show you. If you're doing a restore, if you go down to backup and restore, hit home button and then go down to restore, hit the home button again, it gives you a list of files within your SD card that are available to back up to. Now as you can see, the file in there says 2012 August being 08 and the 7th, and it then gives you the time being 6:11 and 53 seconds. Now all you have to do at that point is press the home button and it'll automatically restore that entire image of the phone back to the state it was. That's if you wanted to do a restore, that is, but we're not, so the backup's now done. We'll just reboot the system now to boot back on into normal mode, and I'll show you where it puts it. Now obviously this backup process took 15-16 minutes for myself. I should have said 16 to 17 minutes or so. Now that will vary vastly depending on how many apps you have and how much data it's going to back up. So if you haven't got that many apps or data on the phone or media, then it will do it a lot quicker, but just be patient, it'll get through it in the end. Now that's on. What we'll do is we'll go into the file browser and I'll use a standard one just for ease of use, just the basic My Files one, as you can see there. Now we'll go into my external SD card, and you can see there's a folder called Clockwork Mod. Now the application or the recovery console Clockwork Mod Recovery automatically puts this on your SD card. So once we go into it, there's a folder called Backup, and then remember we saw a restore point with today's date and time. This is that restore point. So as you can see, it's got today's date and the time that the backup was made. If I hold down on it and go to details, it gives you the size, and you can see there the size of that backup was 2.1 gigabytes. So I've got a lot of stuff on there, and you go in, you just see application files. What I would like to mention at this point is sometimes when you're doing a backup, you occasionally get error messages, and those can relate to not enough storage space. So by that I mean, if you're backing up to your SD card, just make sure you've got enough spare space on the SD card to cope with the size of the image, or the size of the backup as I call it. Because if there's not enough space, like my image there was 2.1 gigabytes, if the empty space on the SD card was only 1 gigabyte, there's no point even doing a backup, because it's not going to store it and it'll come up with error and fail. But that's how easily you can do a Nandroid backup of your Samsung Galaxy S3 smartphone. And just remember, you can't restore individual applications. This does a complete backup of the phone, so your messages, your contacts, your search history, all the applications as they're laid out in every single screen, the data within those applications, so if you're playing games, what stage you were within that game, that kind of stuff. So it's a complete backup of the phone. And what I tend to do is I just leave it on the SD card, because I chop and change ROMs quite a bit, so if I need to, I can always revert back to a good backup without having to download each and every application from the Play Store, or restore the contacts or the messages or anything like that at all. Any questions or comments that you guys have got, hit them up in the comment section down below there. Hit subscribe from the button up top there. It doesn't cost you anything and it's free, and you can check out some of our forthcoming videos. Thanks for watching, have a good day, and we'll see you next time.